I see a lot of people who make these travel videos on YouTube, traveling around different towns and talking about their experience. So I asked you guys if you'd be interested in seeing that on this channel. I got an overwhelming yes, with about 60% of the people who voted saying that they'd like to see content of that nature on this channel. So it's going to be kind of a new experience for me, but here we are. We're going to be exploring a town, looking at the state of it. We're going to be looking at whether it's good or bad, and you guys can make your own assessments, right? I'm going to give you my opinions and I'm going to tell you what I see, obviously, but I want to hear what you guys think of it. So leave me a comment down below if this is interesting, and of course give it a like if this is the kind of thing you want to see. It's currently about -3 degrees. It feels a lot colder due to the wind, but we've come out and we're going to film a fairly decent video for you. So yeah, we might as well get into it. Today's location is Rotherham. Before we start having a look around the place though, let's have a little bit of a rundown of a few details about the town. Rotherham has a population of around 265,000 people, with a borough spanning around 100 square miles. The town has a rich heritage in steel production and coal mining. And it also has a football club which was founded in 1870. It's the 64th most populated district in England, and the average salary here is apparently £30,000, which is quite far below the national average, which is said to be around £37,000. For the year ending 2023, there were apparently 10,000 crimes per 100,000 people. And the median age in the town is around 38 versus 40, which is a national average. So there's some information for you before we go looking around. We're going to walk around. I'm going to show you as much of the town as I can. I'm going to give you my opinions as we go. I think it's going to be interesting. So straight away we are into the snow, as you can see. And you know what? I've come off the bus. I decided to arrive on bus today, and so far we look like we're in a fairly okay area. I mean, this looks like a freshly made sort of park thing. So far I'm looking at what looks to be a relatively new, I think it's a cinema, yeah, cinema. That looks good. And then some little office building here. I know we're very, very early in, but I'm trying to start it with a positive. And I think another thing that not enough people who make these videos talk about is kind of the travel and the ability to get to these locations. So like I say, I arrived by bus, and it was a fairly easy journey. Into Rotherham, there's a good few transport links. You can get a train, you can get a bus, you can also get a tram depending on where you're coming from. So in terms of opportunities and options to get here, there are a lot, but let's go and see if it's worth actually traveling here to begin with. So I think for most of this one it's just going to be me kind of pointing the camera around. You're going to have to bear with me for the wind noise. It's my first time doing this, but let's go and make some assessments. Let's go and have a look at things. So what we have straight away is we have Rotherham train station just over there, just slightly out of shot. Let's see if we can zoom into it. Just over there, so that's your train station. We've got what looks to be an office building and that new cinema that we spoke about. We've also got this behind us. I don't know what that is. I think they're waiting to rent it out by the looks of it. However, as soon as we come out of this area, we see a kind of different picture. We've got some boarded up fencing and what looks to be, in fact I would almost guarantee, is some kind of abandoned building. Obviously a lot of holes and smashed windows. We'll climb up these steps though, and we'll carry on our adventure. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you about things as we go, and I want to make a big point about a lot of these videos, right? A lot of people who make these sorts of videos, and one of the reasons why I thought it was interesting to make one of this kind myself, try, I think, to make a sort of negative slant on it. I don't think that is abandoned, it's just old factory sort of building. They try and make a very negative slant on it, and I understand why. It's that kind of stuff that does well on YouTube. I'm kind of a bit of an optimist myself, so I'm going to be honest, right? I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to try and be honest. I'm going to try and be as positive and realistic as possible. So yet again, we come into what looks to be some sort of takeaway, then we got straight away some abandoned buildings, to be fair. W. Gordon and Sons, I think, but looks to be well abandoned. Don't know what even used to be there, but nothing there right now, as you can tell. So yet again, another building site. I think we just looked at that, we were just around the back side of that, and we have what looks to be another abandoned building. So we had a nice sort of start on this. God, I don't know what's happened to that. We had a nice start, but straight away, coming to the main sort of town centre, you've got immediately abandoned buildings. Then continuing down this street, we've got what looks to be a fairly nice old Tudor style pub, and another pub down there, and the bus station is just ahead. So let's continue our walk on. So in terms of what we've actually got, zoom out a little bit, we've got a bank, we have got what looks to be some sort of a cash shop. But the overwhelming thing, Bright House, abandoned. Whatever that used to be, abandoned. And the shops that are there, or left, don't appear to be that good. That's abandoned. That's abandoned. That is a small shop. And yet again, all I'm seeing is a lot of betting shops. And this is a common thing, or a common theme, in these sorts of towns. We've not even got any trees in the little decorative bits. However, this does look fairly fresh. The walkway looks like it's been reasonably, or at least recently done. That's good. But is it going to get well used? But then we've got this sort of old school ground. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. We've got a market, I appreciate that, and an indoor market, which is good. It's a good sign. At the same time, it's very empty. Apparently we've got a B&M there, but I don't think that's been a B&M for a while, to say the least. Not really that many new buildings, to be honest, bar the ones that we've seen. I think that is worth noting. I think it shows that there's not that much in terms of investment or new developments. There's been a few when I was coming down on the bus. To be fair, that's quite new, but not as many as you'd imagine. And I know we're walking slightly out of the centre here. I just want to show you guys the most comprehensive view that I can. Then we've got good, or at least interesting, big buildings like this. I would imagine it is sort of neoclassical style. Abandoned, boarded up. Completely boarded up. Massive building. Nothing in it. You'd think that could be used for housing or some sort of business, right? You think in a thriving area, I would imagine a business would love to occupy a building like that. So perhaps it is, well, it will be a sign of what's going on, right? And another big thing is that I want to point out how empty it is on all of the sections that we've looked at. And I know it looks dark, but please do bear in mind that this is peak time. This is, what time is it? 25 minutes past 3 on a Thursday. So if it's not busy now, I don't know if it ever will be. More abandonment. And all of the shops here, I don't know if they're independents maybe. That's good. But there's not really even many big brands. And to be fair, that's just quite strange. So there's absolutely nothing here, just an empty gap. However, it is implied that something is going to be here soon. A sort of modern outdoor space. I feel like that's the kind of thing that they probably need. That is open. Yeah, it's a real interesting experience, to be fair, because there's not that much stuff. I feel like if there is anything good here, it's probably on this road. And I feel like the worst bit of it, the most real shame part, is a lot of these buildings are really nice. Like, you can't tell me that doesn't look nice. Obviously that is inhabited, or, you know, it's being run as a business. That's great. But a lot of them aren't. It seems to be a bit of a shame. So I reckon this is probably one of the nightclubs, right? Obviously that's going to be closed now. It's the middle of the daytime. You'd expect that. But I've not really seen much in the way of club life or nightlife here, which we've got that maybe. Amber Lounge. Don't know if that is actually a club. Don't think it is actually. And we've got this Revolution. I don't know if it's the actual Revolution, like, chain brand. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Probably it's not, to be fair. But there's just not much in the way of shops here or people being here. You have got the odd thing that looks fairly nice or reasonably nice, but most stuff's shut, to be fair, in all regards. The clubs, the shops, the bars, the coffee shops. It's kind of crazy, to be fair. Look at that old Brutalist style Royal Mail. I think it's a sorting centre or something, I don't know. Looks like some sort of an office. Anyway, I find this really interesting, or I find it really kind of eye-opening, because we all knew that a lot of small towns are like this, right? I've been to this place before, I'm fully aware of it, but you kind of understand the cycle when you see it before your eyes. There's nothing there, so no one goes. No one goes, so it becomes less economically viable to run businesses, and the cycle just goes on. Nothing's there even more. It really does need, I think, like a lot of places, some actual investment, some reason to go to the town, rather than just housing. It's good that there are these apartments there and stuff like that, and there's a pretty nice riverside area or canal. That's nice, but I mean, just think about the livelihoods in this town, right? And this is why people wouldn't shop here, or why people don't shop here. We'll use the example of Christmas, right? Because Christmas has just gone. How are you going to do your Christmas shopping here? I mean, guys, like, really think about it, right? Even if you were coming for your weekly shop, or, I don't know, just to hang out with friends, you wouldn't do it here. Because what are you going to do, right? There's a limited selection of restaurants, that's fine, that might be good. But, bar that, you know, especially when you're in a place like this, I feel this is part of the problem, especially if you've got a car. There's neighbouring Sheffield or Doncaster, you'd have, look, two lets, you'd have a much better time, day or night, out there, right? So, if you're going to make that event, put that in your diary, let's say, of, I don't know, day out, night out, whatever, shopping trip, why wouldn't you just go to a local shopping centre, of which there are plenty? Why would you come out here for nothing? And obviously then the cycle goes on. But just like a lot of towns in the UK, this is another case of, so far at least, what seems to be boarded up Britain. I know that there's a big Tesco's here, but I really think that's probably round about where the joys end. Like I say, you've got a few of these little small cafes and shops, and you have got relatively okay transport links to both Sheffield and Doncaster, but again, wouldn't that fuel people going there rather than coming here? Nice wedding dress shop, that's pretty nice. Big warehouse type thing as well, that's cool. But no, I mean, you wouldn't really make a day trip of this, I don't think. I really don't think you would. So we'll try and walk through a bit that we've not done yet. We'll go past, I mean, I know we've kind of come down it because it's only a small town. Jesus. This is really just what we're looking at, isn't it? And like I say, the real shame for me, or one of the big shames, is these buildings are very beautiful. They would or could have a lot of potential in them. Look, you've not even got a Costa coffee. And say what you want about whether that's good or bad or important, but these are, like, I would say, some of the staples of the British high street, right? A big mainstream company that everybody's aware of. How many shops like that, B&M for example, have we seen that have just shut their doors and left? And again, that looks like a fairly nice building, that, with a wedding shop in it. But is it enough to combat, well, everything else? So one of the things that they do have in Rotherham is a very nice, I believe it's a cathedral. Very nice building, bit of information about it there. But a very old building as well. It's probably one of the nicest bits of architecture in this whole city. However, or perhaps town. However, there is a lot of good stuff here, looks-wise. There's a lot of nice buildings with good fashion. And again, coming at these from a bit of a further out angle, you see why it's such a shame, perhaps, to see them abandoned. Anyway, what we have got here is a fairly nice sort of square. Little town square section or area next to the cathedral or church or minster. That's nice, but like I say, for every nice thing there's multiple abandoned buildings, multiple boarded up shops, and there are little glimmers of hope, to be fair, but they're few and far between. I mean, just bear in mind, guys, this is Thursday. Again, middle of the week, well, late part of the week, and we're all boarded up, we're all abandoned, we're all closed. Again, you got the odd shop of kind of resilience, but bar that, we're pretty much shut up. Yet again, abandonment everywhere, really. And again, look at how beautiful the street is. Look at that. That could be nice, it really could, but so much of this area, that's a very rare car actually, Volkswagen Phaeton, so much of this area is done. There's nothing here, and I'm trying to look around everywhere for glimmers of hope and, you know, signs of something, but I'm not getting it, to be honest, at all. Anyway, so we're up a hill and we're coming to the Rotherham Town Hall, as is indicated by this sign. One thing that I'm noticing up here is, not only does it look a little bit nicer, we've got the opportunity for parking. And I think when it comes to stimulating growth in towns, I feel like it's an area that people really miss out. I don't think that there is enough parking here. I think we can judge that by the fact that every single space is taken up, maybe by one or two. Town Hall's still looking nice though, I will say that. But yeah, not really enough parking, I'd say. And another thing is, it's paid parking. Now, I think this also goes back to the spiral a lot of these towns find themselves in, because they don't make enough money, the councils don't make enough money, so they put up the cost of services and parking and all these different things, and then people come less. Because I don't know what the parking rate is. Let's see if we can find out on one of these machines. To be fair, I had a good look and I don't even think that the machine was working. No, I mean, maybe I've just come on a particularly bad day, right? Maybe Thursdays aren't the day for travel. But no, I feel like a lot of these guys who do these sorts of videos, you know, they purposefully, for the intention of making sort of the content that they want, they come at the wrong time. They'll come at they'll come at 7 PM on a Tuesday, where obviously it's quiet. I'm here at peak time, or what should be peak time. And I want to make out the fact that I'm seeing a lot of cars, like a lot of cars. So people physically are here. They're just not choosing to stay. And to be fair, why would you? Right? It's becoming, or it has become perhaps, a drive-through place. You know what I mean? It's a stop on the way. Or it's a drive, not even a stop. It's a drive-through on the way. It's all it, for a lot of people, will be now. Because there's no real reason to stop over or stop off. All of the shops are boarded up. There's another one down there. And I'm trying to be as sort of positive around these things as I can. But the reality of it is, well, you can see. And coming around to the outskirts of the town, I'm still seeing a few, you know, property type places, finance, something that is. So there's still some businesses, and the further afield you go, because people look around town centres, and yeah, they're a big indication of how a town's doing, but there are some nice houses around here, some nice areas, quite far out. When I was driving in, well, perhaps getting a bus in, I saw a lot of manufacturing places out of the town centre. But you come into the town centre, perhaps the heart of the town, where things are supposed to be popping off, and I ain't seen anything at all. The odd supermarket or mini market, whatever, the odd betting shop, and even a lot of the national brands have now closed down. Now, I want to bring your attention as I cross over, if anyone will stop, to how busy this road is with traffic. And I said this a minute ago, but I'm just bringing it home. People are here, they're just not staying. That appears to be abandoned, whatever it is or was. It looks really nice, actually. And all we've got is these really, really small shops. I mean, it really is it's nice that there's small businesses, so please don't get me wrong, but it's a strange state of affairs. It really is, I think, at least. I don't think we bring enough attention to it, really. You know, we've got a fridge freezer type thing just chilling there, as you do. We have got what appears to be some sort of a plant thing, quite kind of out of place if you ask me. No, it's really, really quite strange. What the hell is going on here? You know, it's really hard to say without the context. I don't know if these places are just, I think a lot of them will be just smashed up, or I don't know if they're being worked on. Nice to see a few pubs open, to be fair, but yet again, Bluebell Wood Children's Hospice closed. This sort of takeaway grill thing closed. Perhaps it opens at night, but I don't know. And all the way you look round, to let, abandoned, for sale, everywhere. I mean, we're kind of doing circles on ourselves, but I want to make sure we've seen everything. We've still got an HSBC, which does look very nice, and a British Heart Foundation. We've got a B&M down there now, to be fair, so it probably moved from up there. We're getting a bit of context now. And we've got a Specsavers. We've got a Nationwide as well over there. So we've got a good selection of banks. That's good. And I think we are coming into the more, and I say this, well, we'll see. We might be coming to a more lively section of the town now. The sort of real central bit. We've had the full walk, and we'll look around the real middle bit. Well, I thought that we might be out of the abandonment, but apparently not, because that is a commercial unit to let. And again, it looks really nice on the top. It's just a bit of a shame that it's, well, abandoned. I think the market's closing now, which is reasonable. It's a fair time. But yeah, I mean, even coming down to what appears to be the very, very main stretch, I ain't seeing all too much. Like in terms of brands that you might recognise, so we got a Greggs, we got a B&M, we got a EE shop, but bar that, we got mainly betting shops. You know, we've got a vape suite, we've got a Barbers, we've got a Pound Bakery, but we've got betting, cash converters, Santander, vape shop again. That's a betting shop. That I don't know what that actually is. Some nail shop. That's abandoned by the looks of it. Then we come down here. We got another market stall. That's great. And we got more betting shops. More betting shops. A lot of charity shops, to be fair, as well. Let's try not to. A lot of charity shops. A lot of betting shops. And a lot of those sort of trading, sort of cash converters type shops. And that really appears to be it. Anyway, looks like we're going to find an interesting cut-through walkway here, so we'll see if we got anything good in here. And it appears to just be more of the same. Pretty nice to look at, but I don't know. I feel like we got some old school shops in here, but yet again, not much. Not really much at all. And it kind of appears that we've come back to a full loop of sort of where we started, to be fair. We're on that same strip, that same street that we were on at the beginning. It was just sort of down that way. And we're coming up to that big Tesco's that I said or discussed earlier. But no, there are a lot of closed places. A lot. Like an alarming number. Everything's to let, everything's to rent for the most part. But I don't think anyone's doing that. Got another one there. And in a minute, we're going to hopefully, if we can, come to a full street that I just walked round, where everything is everything's abandoned. So like I said, we've got that big Tesco's there. Not really too much to say about that. It's a supermarket. It's good. It's better than nothing. Fairly modern building. Not too new. Then down here we've got more of the same, right? Nails and spa. Fair enough. We've got cash converters. Lots of these kind of shops. Yeah, lots of really nice buildings. As I say, it's just mainly shut. A lot of them are closed. So I think we're coming really onto the last street in the town centre that we really have to look at. And this is the one where I found basically everything boarded up. So we'll have a look at that. Then I'll come on to a sum up section, I suppose. So literally this. Actually we were here just a bit ago, but I didn't take the time, perhaps due to the angle that I came at, to have a look. That used to be an Argos. It's now shut. We've got one here. It used to be a Poundland. It's now shut. That looks very old, that sign. Not in a good way. We've got a little shop, I think. But honestly, that seems, by the farm foods, to be the only thing on this strip that is actually open. Maybe some of the buildings that we were in that section that we walked through, but I don't see anything else on this strip being open. Then right in the middle, as you come out, you've got your sort of bus station. So you'd come out from the bus station to walk into this, and I can see a Greggs and a Subway down there, another sort of charity shop as well, but there's not much else, to be fair. And, you know, it's funny because we all knew, and I knew, and I know that it's like this, of course. But when you live in a city, you kind of forget. Like, this must be quite miserable, quite depressing. And also, there's nowhere really to, I suppose, turn to actually do any decent shopping in a lot of instances. So, we'll go into a sum up section because it's getting a bit windy and I'm getting a bit cold. We'll make some last minute assessments. So yeah, I guess that concludes today's tour of Rotherham. I made it home all nice and safe, and it wasn't really an unpleasant experience. I mean, when I look at this town from the perspective of myself, I'm someone who's 21 years old. Honestly, I can't see really much for young people to do here. I don't really see much in the way of activities. I don't really see how you could really have a day out in this town centre like you could say in, I don't know, Sheffield or Manchester or Leeds. So I guess it's an interesting situation where there's not really much in terms of entertainment. You're going to get, because of that, people do not come. You know, people don't come to spend money because unless they're coming for necessities, in a lot of cases which aren't there, there's not really much to do. So activities wise, there's not really much that would entertain young people, there's not really much that would entertain families. Really, I think all that there is a few cafes, which at the time seemed to be being used by like builders anyway, and people who were retired. Bar that, there wasn't really many people, full stop. It was a pretty empty town, which is surprising for the middle of the week. And there wasn't really anything to do. So many shops were boarded up, and that was probably the biggest surprise to me, because I know this is nothing new, we were all aware of this, and we've all been aware of this for years, but it's places like this where you really see it. It's places like this which have probably suffered the most, because if you kind of think about the location of the town centre here, it's really not too far away from other major cities. And I feel like a big mistake that the council or whoever is in charge of planning has made in this town is that it is situated very close to a major shopping centre and also a major retail park. So if you're anybody who has a car, you would not make a day trip of coming here. You would simply go to one of those places, both for activities and for any shopping that you might want to do. Again, when you think about what you actually would do here, I can't think of anything. There were some positives though, I will say. The town was fairly clean. I didn't really see much litter at all. That's always a good sign. And when I was walking around, to be fair, I did see people, or members of the council, let's say, cleaning the place up. You know, they had their little sticks and they were picking up litter, which is always nice to see. It helps to keep a place clean. There was also a police presence. I saw at least 4 police officers walking around the town. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. Probably a bad one, to be honest, because if you feel the need to have a police presence there. But then again, if it is needed, I'd rather see them than not. And them making a visual and visible presence is probably a good thing if that is the case. The actual streets themselves were fairly well maintained. I know we only had a walk around the town centre, that was my intention, but the actual streets themselves were in good condition. A lot of them had been resurfaced, they'd been done up to a degree, and I didn't really see much in the way of holes or massive gaps in the pavement. That's always a good sign. With that being said though, I feel like they've spent a lot of time and potentially a lot of money focusing on trivial things whilst failing to acknowledge why people would go there. It's all well and good to have a fairly done out street where it's got a nice modern pavement, but the reality is, if the shops aren't modern, if there's not the cafes, nightlife, clubs, bars, restaurants, grills, things that people do for leisure and entertainment, people are still not going to come, right? And I feel like this is the unfortunate thing about so many of these towns. They just have not kept up with the trend. You see, it's my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, we'll have a walk around one of them soon, but when you go to a reasonably big city, like let's say Manchester or Liverpool, you see a lot of the places which are in business are not necessarily shops. A lot of the places which are very busy, they're oftentimes bars, restaurants, coffee shops, and also places to do activities. In the town centre, you don't really see any of these. You don't even really see any shops, apart from these cash converter types, these, sort of pawn shops. You see these betting shops as well. And I feel like it's a very unfortunate thing. However, it speaks to the way that people naturally must feel in these towns, right? If you think about it, there's not really much else going on, right? And these are the shops which are able to stay open, because betting shops, well, we all know how they run, and the other shops are simply where people go to trade in their things. It's a real unfortunate thing, but it does appear to be the case that places like Rotherham, and it's only one of many across the country, have in a lot of ways been left behind. There's a lot of potential here, and if they do go about creating some of the projects that I saw written about on the walls, they may have a chance of reviving this. But in terms of a town centre, there's not really much reason that I would ever go here to go out, to spend any time with anybody. If it's your local shopping hub, maybe, but even then, if you have a car, there's better alternatives. And it's a real shame, it's a cycle that we're seeing across a lot of UK high streets, and I don't know where this ends. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I don't know if it's been any good, it's been pretty long. If you did enjoy it, if it was useful, if you liked it, do give us a like and give us a share, because it took me a long time to film this and obviously to arrive in the location. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.